What we got here today is a 52-inch antique brass Fantastico Decorative Ceiling Fan, Hunter original knockoff. This fan here dates to sometime around, I would say around 1985, maybe 1986. It's a pretty decent original knockoff. The motor housing's a heavy gauge stamped steel, ball and socket mounting system. The switch housing is cast, and the motor, I believe, is cast aluminum as well. And the motor is 188 millimeter in diameter, so it's a pretty decent diameter spinner motor in there. One thing interesting about it is that it has 1 through 24 cast into the motor all the way around the circumference of it. I'm not really too sure who made this fan. The best guess I can possibly think may be Firebird, but that's a very, very far cry. I'm not really too sure much about the Fantastico Decorative Ceiling Fan brand anyway. Seems to be a pretty short-lived brand of the 80s. So, blades are a golden oak finish. It is a 3-speed electrically reversible fan. When I got this thing and I first put it up and ran it, the fan ran really, really slow. Slower than normal, like high was about medium. And I didn't know if whether this fan was just naturally slow or the fact that the capacitor was on its way out. Well, I opened up the switch housing and took the capacitor out, and this is what I found. As you can tell, the capacitor got a little hot. You can tell this up in the top there that it cracked and some of the insulating materials leaked out. So it's pretty much shot. As you can tell, this capacitor is 4-wire, has 3 input leads and 1 output lead. And it's rated at 5 microfarad. Well, like I said, this thing's not any kind of traditional capacitor setup where it's only just one in, one out capacitor, one specific microfarad. I think this one here actually has 3 values, and it's all combined into one capacitor unit. And it had a double layer pull chain. So I don't have anything identical to this on hand, and with the only one capacitor value listed on this thing, it's hard to tell exactly the other values. And the way that it was wired up, I tried to do some experiments, but it did not really turn out the way I wanted to. The best thing I can get was 2 high speeds and a medium, basically, on the values that I tried of spare capacitors I had. So what I ended up doing was I hot wired the fan directly to high speed using a 4.5 microfarad capacitor, which is the closest value I have on hand, which is a lot better than the original one here. So we'll go ahead and start this thing up. We're using a Hampton Bay 3-speed wall control, which is capacitor based for demonstrative purposes. Like I said, the fan's still electrically reversible by the reversing switch on the switch housing, but as of right now, this is only a wall control operated fan until I can find a replacement capacitor, which will be quite difficult, as I mentioned before. Low speed here with this control is about average. It's a little bit faster than aesthetic, but not too fast. Here's medium. This right here is probably 140 RPM right here, which I believe high speed on this, on the old defunct capacitor, was probably around 150, 160. So not much faster than this. And here's high. And on this high speed here, we're doing probably around 190, which is much more like it. I would say it'd probably be a little bit slower because this is a 4.5 microfarad capacitor in this fan now versus the stock 5 microfarad, so it probably will be a little bit faster, but this is much better than it was before. The blade pitch, I would say, is around 11, maybe 12 degrees. It's not a bad air mover. It's about average. And we're going to watch it coast. Yeah, like I said, I don't really know much about this particular brand here. The model number on this fan is a series of 2-letter codes, which it seems like they represent, you know, the entire series versus one particular model. So it seems like they offered, you know, a few different styled fans because they're all separated with commas. So it seems like they just put every model number on the label here, regardless of what fan it is. But it's a cool fan nonetheless. They even went the extra mile and incorporated the one sole only circular vent that all the cast iron bottom plate originals had, which all the ones that have a painted finish, not antique brass or brass, you know, had that lone circular vent, because the ones that were plated finish, you know, were cast pot metal instead of actual cast iron. So they do not have that circular vent on the original Hunter original. Bearings are a little noisy, but they're still in good shape here, as you can tell. They're a little bit worn. Kind of hard to hear them with the furnace running back there. But yeah, we got a good spin down here. And there you have it, folks. There was the 52-inch antique brass Fantastic Decorative Ceiling Fans Hunter original knockoff from the mid-1980s. So I thank you for watching, and I do hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be seeing you next time.